that he didn't have to play the government specifically as a villain, and to me, it felt a little bit of a cop out. So
Hi, it's the Siren Cut, and we just got back from watching Disclosure Day, and we certainly have some things to say.
yeah, I guess it's it was an interesting time.
So, this was directed by Steven Spielberg, and the music score from John Williams, which is kind of exciting in a sense because,
Oh, he's
uh,
94 now,
right?
so
And Steven Spielberg's he's has some really good movies that is out there like
yeah,
Color
I
Purple
was
and
looking forward to this, the return of Steven Spielberg. Kind of Hollywood kind of A-list film. That we don't seem to get a whole lot nowadays. He's got a ton of like real top tier movies, and even some of his lesser ones are still pretty good. So
hmm
I was really looking forward to this.
I was too, especially with them pushing it in the theaters. A lot of the movies that we've seen, there were so many previews and posters, and such a big deal for Disclosure Day,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah. What did you think is pretty good?
There's a few things I thought pretty good. Emily Blunt was excellent in it.
Amazing.
She definitely stood out as kind of the star of the film.
hmm
She carried every scene that she was in, kind of thing. Colin Firth was the bad guy. He was good. I
hmm
think, especially the type of bad guy he was. Steven Spielberg as a director, he's still top notch, especially when the action sequences, the chases and stuff like that,
Yeah.
really good, really exciting.
hmm
Even if some of them didn't make a whole lot of sense, there was one, actually, as in a good way. This isn't a not make sense part, but there's a part early on where one of the main characters, the I forgot his name already, but the guy who's like took the information, the Edward Snowden type guy, he's trying to get into one of the cars while they got all the cars lined up in front of their place getting ready to raid, and you could tell the shot was most likely shot with a drone, because as he's crouching behind cars and the fence line there,
hmm hmm
he's moving this way, and the camera does this really cool gliding as it glides and follows him,
hmm
and then you could see it go. It swivels around as he goes through an opening in the fence, but the camera goes through that opening first, right?
I didn't even notice that.
Right. It
No.
just it just kind of stuck out to me. It was actually a really cool scene, a minor thing, but it really stood out to me of
hmm
that drone usage, camera usage. It was kind of cool. The overall movie, as far as I love alien films and stuff like that, and Steven Spielberg's done a ton of sci-fi and alien stuff. He's got under his belt and a lot of them I really enjoyed. What did you like about it?
Actually, I kind of enjoyed it in a way that I used to be a big X Files type of. I love that show, and it did have that feel, but a little more epic, especially with the music and the directing and so forth. As far as the acting was fantastic, I thought Emily Blunt did a great job. There's some parts that I thought that could have done a lot better.
Now let's get right into that then.
Yeah.
What did you think could have been done better? Or what didn't you like about it?
So for a Steven Spielberg movie, it didn't feel as epic as a lot of his other movies in the past. And I kind of expected it to be what it is. It's hard to please nowadays because
Hmm.
there's so many great movies out there. And as far
And a
as
fine line. Sometimes you go too far, and everybody's like, "Wow, that was like
right,
too much."
it felt
It's like,
safe
yeah,
and it also felt a little flat, especially
yeah.
the end.
Well, I was looking at some of his previous films, and some of the ones that I really enjoyed, um, even if they're not considered like the best movies ever. Like Ready Player One is came out not too long ago. Um, I liked that a lot, but he didn't write it. It's
Mhm.
based off a book, and he hit a lot of the same kind of things about how society is. The
Mhm.
commentary on society and stuff like that. That movie hit. So, War of the Worlds. I know a lot of people. It's kind of a hit and miss with a lot of people, but I
Right.
actually liked the War of the Worlds movie with Tom Cruise. There's some really cool scenes, and he made that. Spielberg made it feel fairly epic, the kind of movie that it should be for a war, a world invasion by aliens, you know.
Right.
But also, I'm glad he didn't just rehash his same ideas necessarily, even
Right.
though some of the ideas were a little disappointing, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it it felt epic because of the music and how it was shot and so forth. But it's kind of felt a little bit between X-Files, Contact, and somewhere in between, but a movie.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, I mean,
I think it really suffered a little bit from pacing at times. You know, for every like the good, car chase and stuff like that, and then boom, it would slow down for a bit, and
right.
then they'd have the train scene, and boom, it would slow down for a bit. So it was, yeah, and then I was really very disappointed that of all things he could have done, he ended up just rehashing his aliens or rehash of the gray aliens. That I thought was he could have done a little better with something like that.
I don't want to give any spoilers here as far as that goes, but
I don't think I didn't more sorry if that's a spoiler, but I didn't think that was a big deal just because of how underwhelming it was. It's not a surprise, you know.
right.
I mean, because right from the get go of the movie, you're kind of expecting, they're going to show the aliens eventually, so it's not like boom, surprise,
I
surprise.
almost felt like they didn't have to go that far.
You got to remember he's an older director still, and a lot of the ideas did seem very late '90s, early 2000s kind of
That's the
typical
part I kind
sci-fi.
of liked, though. That was kind of the weird thing about it. That's the part of the movie I
Right,
liked.
right.
But because
But it was
it's
still missing the wonderment that you felt in his previous, like he does a lot of like coming of age films,
right,
and like and that was kind of missing from this. So when you don't have that to play on, it was just, yeah, it was just like lackadaisical. I think is the best way to put it. It wasn't a bad film by any means, but
you
even
would
with his stuff, it's surprising you've never seen E.T.
no, I haven't.
We still got to get you to watch that.
That is embarrassing. Anybody who actually
Right.
hears that, they're just like, "What? You haven't
Especially
seen?"
for our generation. We grew up with
And I
that
love
film,
X
and
Files, and
right.
I like those types of movies.
Overall, it was a decent movie. He's still good at what he does. The camera work and the look of the film was really good, even though some characters made some really weird choices. I don't know. It wasn't for me. I think from the sounds of it, you liked it a little bit more than
I
I
did.
did.
I think I did. Yeah.
What would you rate it then?
About 6.5, 7.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's kind of cool that John Williams and Steven Spielberg. I mean, they're good. Maybe it was a script or something that kind of fell a little flat. Maybe the CGI
Yeah.
was a little bit off, but overall, I felt like I enjoyed it. And it gave me that little bit of that nostalgic type of feel. And I use that word a lot because when it has
It
that,
did feel like
I
old
liked
style
that.
sci-fi
Yeah.
kind of films
It
we
had
used
a
to watch.
classic feel to it, but
Yeah.
it just fell slightly flat.
I was thinking about a 6, and I actually think my final score I'd get a 5, just average. Mostly for one very big reason. I feel like he did the whole idea of, and this isn't really a spoiler, but Colin Firth's character and the people chasing them. You find out they're a corporation, they're a private company, they're not government, and they make sure they tell you there's at least 2 or 3 expositional scenes where they make sure you understand these are not government. And so I don't know if it was a cop out. It just felt like a cop out. Like he didn't want to blame FBI, CIA, or anything governmental, so he just made them some nondescript corporate entity that has government oversight. But yeah, that he didn't have to play the government specifically as a villain. And to me, it felt a little bit of a cop out. So I think that's why I gave it a 5.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
But otherwise, tell us what you thought. Did you glad to see the return of Steven Spielberg and something sci-fi and alien related, or did this kind of fall flat for you too?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot. All right.